What is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jeff Benjamin with iDownload Blog. This is Let's Talk iOS episode number 36, the big 36. I have my co-hosts on the line, Sebastian Page and Cody Lee. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm sorry, just gentlemen.
What?
Wow.
You want to start, the show like this? Okay.
Yeah.
I see how
Those
it
are
goes.
fighting words in Texas.
What's up, you guys?
It's been kind of a busy morning, hasn't it?
It's been a busy last few hours, a couple hours, I guess.
So the morning.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, it's actually...
Jeff is
That's like
already in
3
the
there,
afternoon for
yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
It's almost nap time for Jeff.
But seriously, Apple just released iOS 8 Beta 3, as well as a new Yosemite developer preview and several other betas. So, yeah, I think we meant to start the show like 2 hours ago, and all that happened, and we've just been busy keeping IDB readers up to date with that stuff.
And we've done a fantastic job at it.
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have. Little pat on the shoulder. Good job.
Exactly. There's not a whole lot new. I mean, it's just seemed like very minor stuff in both of the betas. So I don't know. Maybe hopefully some under the hood
fixes
stuff.
and stability improvements.
Right.
The magic words.
It seems like so are UI tweaks are becoming a part of that every time instance or boilerplate.
Yeah. Well, I've got something exciting. I've got a new car.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Don't tell me. I want to guess. Give us 3 guesses. Does it start with the word or the letter A?
No, it's not an Audi. No, man, I've got a second kid now. I can't afford an Audi.
Oh, okay.
Does it start with an H?
No, I would never buy a Hyundai ever again.
See, I was trying to cover 2 bases, Hyundai and Honda.
All right. Does it start with a T?
The specific model, not the make. The model of the car starts with a T. Yes.
Oh.
Hold on.
So not the make.
Give me 1 second.
Well, that's like 5 guesses already.
Oh no.
Is it an Asian vehicle?
No, it is not an Asian vehicle.
Oh wow. So Ford Taurus.
No, it is not a Ford Taurus.
Well, you said the make or the model started with a T.
The T, it starts with a T. No, yeah. Okay, that was a good guess, I guess. Yes, but it is not a Ford Taurus.
Is it an SUV?
They do not call it an SUV. They call it a crossover, but I would call this an SUV because it's pretty big.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Is it a Ford?
It is not a Ford.
Is it an American car?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
it's a
hold
GMC.
on. I really want to get this. This is fun.
Oh my gosh.
This is really
it's a
fun.
Tahoe. It's a Chevy Tahoe.
And we lost about half of the listeners so far from this episode.
That's awesome, man.
It is a Tahoe?
It is not. No, it is not a Tahoe. The Tahoe is $60,000, guys.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it's
I can't
you
afford
acted
that.
you acted like that was correct and we were moving on. Dang it.
No.
okay. So it's not a Tahoe.
But Cody had had it almost right there.
Hold on.
Not a oh my gosh.
Hold on. I want to know. Hold on. I'm going to do this. And I don't think we're losing the. I'm going to say losing the losers, losing the listeners. I think that they really want to know. I think it's a Chevy Traverse.
Oh, I think you just got on Google and figured it out.
That's a nice car. I like it.
Yes, it is a Chevy Traverse. Yes.
That's pretty big.
Yeah, it is big. It has 7 seats in there, which was the main point really in getting a new car.
It can seat up to 8.
'Cause you have
Well, up to 8, but we have the configuration 2, 2, 3. So two in the front, 2 in the middle, and 3 in the back. So we have the 7-seat configuration, so that we can put surfboards between the 2 middle seats, or else
nice
you're
ride.
not able to put surfboards in very easily.
It drives like a car.
Huh?
Does it drive like a car?
Yeah, it drives like a car, and the seats remind me of a car as well. So do the steering wheel, and yeah, I guess it's a car.
So what did you had a Hyundai that you either sold or traded in?
Well, actually, that's a kind of long story. I didn't want to trade it in because the guy said, I don't think your car is worth $10,000. I was like, it's worth like 12 on Kelly Blue Book. And I put it for 12,000 on on Craigslist. And I, like minutes later, I started receiving calls and text messages, and everybody wanted it. And someone offered me 11,000 for it. And I said no. And then someone is supposed to come later today to buy it. They gave me a deposit yesterday. They came see the car, and they didn't have the cash because banks were closed and everything. And he gave me a $1,000 deposit. And I haven't heard from him ever since.
So that's a free $1,000.
Yeah. So yeah, he's supposed to come later today to pick up the car for his. That's for his daughter, Katie, who just got a new job in Los Angeles. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I sold the car very quickly. Well, it's not technically sold yet, but it seems that it's gonna go pretty quickly, and I got more money out of it than I would have had from the dealer. So I'm pretty happy about that.
That's a super smart move. I just went through this back in February, and dealers will really lowball you on the offer for your car. Not only to create like wiggle room for negotiation, but they also, think about it. They have to take it and then turn it over and sell it. And they're usually going to try to sell it for what you want out of it. So, they've got to make a little bit of cash on it. So I always recommend trying to sell it yourself. It's a little bit more of a hassle, but you get a lot more money in the long run.
I'll tell you what, I had a great experience. It's going to seem weird, but CarMax, I don't know if you guys have that out there.
Yeah, we do. They're popular.
They're really cool. I mean, I sold a car there, and I got way more than I thought I would get. Like way more. Yeah,
that doesn't ever happen. Even I've had CarMax lowball me before.
Really?
Too, so.
Oh man, I was very, very happy with this. But anyway, let's talk cars.
No, so are you happy with the purchase, Sebastian?
Yeah, so far it's a lease. It's not a purchase outright, so I'm paying a monthly for 36 months. I'm going to be paying every month. So far, I'm happy, but I like this car because when I got into an accident a few months ago, I got a rental car while my car was being repaired, and that I had a Chevy Traverse, and it was the first time I even saw a Chevy Traverse. And my wife and I really liked it. My daughter loved it because there's plenty of room in there, and she can walk around the car, like inside the car. You can just walk around inside. So when we were looking at cars, that was our first choice. So I haven't had the opportunity to drive my car, my personal car, for a while because I just got in on Friday. But I drove the same model for several weeks a few months ago. So I know I like the car, and it's very comfy, and it's a truck. I mean, it's an SUV, so it's not super good on gas, but it's comfortable. It seems pretty safe now that I have, 2 kids in the car.
Chloe has her own room in the car.
Yeah, she has her own room.
Go to your room.
Okay.
That's a nice car. Anyway.
Yeah, it is a nice car. It's not the best car out there, but I think it's a good car for the value,
So that means that there's at least, let's see, how many is it seat? 7?
7,
yours?
yeah.
Okay,
yep.
So there's 4 of you now. So that's 3 more.
No.
Okay. So, yeah, lots going on, obviously. And the iOS 8 beta 3. We've all, I think, upgraded, haven't we? I guess we won't talk about it too much, but
no, we don't talk about this year.
Yeah, but yeah, if you're a developer, go out there and get it.
All right, what's on the docket for the day? Besides talking about my new car.
Well, there's lots of iOS 6 rumors.
iOS 6?
Or, I'm sorry, iPhone 6.
You have iOS on the brain.
I know.
Yeah, there's actually been quite a bit of talk of iPhone 6 over the past week. I think, just if you look at the timeline, these phones, multiple phones, right? 2 new iPhones are due within a month or two, really, right? September is what we keep hearing. So with that in mind, you have to think that production on these handsets is starting to kick up, right? It's starting to maybe mass production has begun at some manufacturers overseas. So when that happens, more parts are coming through, and you just happen to get more leaks. So we've seen a lot of leaks. There's a lot of information flying around. I guess the first one we have here is talking about batteries, right? That came out this morning. Chinese mobile media is saying that the iPhone 6, they pegged the iPhone 6, the battery for the 4.7-inch model would measure anywhere between 1800 and 1900. Is this milliamp
Yeah,
hours?
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. I always see this MAH, and I feel like I knew what it stood for, but I wanted to make sure. But anyways, it's the battery size. The good news is the battery size is bigger than years past. The bad news is, well, it's got this bigger screen to power, and it's not anywhere close to as big as you see in other handsets, Android handsets, and things like that. So the consensus is that this thing is not going to have the stellar battery life that probably everybody wishes for. Is that the gist? Did you guys read this?
Yeah, and the fact that they want to make the device smaller and smaller. So the battery, like the surface of the battery, I think is going to be larger, bigger. When you look at it from above, the battery might look a little bigger, but it might actually be thinner as well. So this taken into account, plus a bigger screen to power, you might have a bigger battery, but it might not do any good. I really doubt that we're going to see something that less battery life than the current iPhone. I don't think that would happen. But I don't think we're going to see a huge bump in battery life, which is like one of the number one thing people really want out of their smartphone or any kind of powered device. Really, you always want more battery, and it seems there hasn't been any big breakthrough in years. Battery-wise, we've been having pretty much the same battery on the iPhone for a long time. I mean, I know that every year Apple will try to say, hey, improve battery life and stuff like this, up to 10 hours or whatever that is. But I never really say to myself, oh yeah, I'm realizing that now that my battery life is better than it was on my previous device or something like this. So I think that's going to be the case once again. We're probably going to be staying at the same level in terms of battery life for the iPhone 6.
And it seems like that's been their prerogative in recent years, is more of saying, hey, we've added all these new features. The A7 processor, which is now 64-bit, we expanded the screen to 4 inches and we kept the same battery life. It seems like they've been really content with maintaining. And I'm starting to wonder how long they can keep this up, because who saw that new Samsung commercial that referred to iPhone users as wall huggers? This was a sentiment also given by BlackBerry CEO a few months ago. It is no secret that the iPhone has fallen far behind. Even if you look at some of the droids, the less popular droids, like Motorola's, what are they called? Not the Razr, what are their latest models? Anyway, one of them can go as high as 48 hours with continued use. That's not standby, that's continued use. So it's no secret that the iPhone has fallen far behind. And seems to be, I think we did, there was a survey, a large scale survey that asked iPhone users what their biggest complaint was, and it was battery life from everybody. So I would be surprised, and it sounds like if this is legit, I would be surprised that Apple didn't do anything in terms of battery life this year.
To be fair, though, I'm sure you could have the same survey for any device out there, any Samsung or LG or whatever you can think of, and the number one complaint would probably always be battery life.
Yeah, and I think by far, like I have a Samsung Galaxy, whatever. And the battery life on there is terrible.
Samsung Galaxy, whatever.
The battery life on there is absolutely horrendously garbage. And compared to my iPhone 5, I mean, there's no question. So I think Apple has just always been, even though they're working with a smaller battery, they can get more out of it. That's been my experience in the real world anyway.
What are some of these other rumors we saw over the last week about the iPhone 6?
Well, it's not so much a rumor. There was so we saw a few new concepts in the past week, right? These are basically designers' visions of what the new iPhone will look like. And we've seen a lot of these. I'm almost getting kind of sick of them because we've seen so many of these, but it's understandable, right? With the iPhone 6 expected to be a much larger update than anything else in recent years, and with us not knowing a whole lot outside of the few part leaks we've seen, it kind of gives designers a big palette to work with, right? A big canvas to paint what they think it's going to look like. So we've seen a few. One actually had the large, ugly antenna breaks. You guys know we've talked about these in past episodes. It's almost looks like grout between tiles and just these large, ugly breaks in the back of the iPhone that are supposedly for antenna, for to make sure that the metal casing doesn't hinder the antenna or the cellular capabilities of the phone. Well, we saw a new one that I think kind of brought a breath of fresh air that didn't have these huge ugly breaks. In fact, the back looked a lot like the current iPhones do now with the two-tone, right? It's got the white window on top, the white window on bottom, and then the metal in between it. And I think this is more likely. I think it's more plausible. If you ask me, and I think we even saw a report from Nikkei early in last week that said these brakes are not going to make it into the final production. They're more or less guidelines for, what do you want to call it, accessory makers, so they don't put anything there that'll hinder the antenna. Or it's just, I think they called it placeholders in the report. I think that's a more likely scenario.
Question.
Yeah.
Sure.
What do you think? And this may sound a little far-fetched, but what do you think the likelihood is that Apple, obviously they know these mock-ups are going to leak, these, preliminary designs or whatnot are going to leak, and they listened to the feedback that they received and decided to change it up? What do you think the likelihood of that is?
Very thin.
Yeah.
I think the design of the iPhone 6 has been coined for quite a while. And I don't think they would be able to change, because this is really last minute now. We're thinking the iPhone 6 is going into production right now. So, that would be a massive change of plan to say, well, we have to redo this little antenna business here because it's not working. People are complaining about it. And also, it's not really in Apple's nature to fix things because people are complaining about things.
They don't do marketing research generally.
Right.
And design is so ingrained in what they do, and the design team that they have there is so awesome. I just can't see them making any kind of, why would you take opinion, even if it was from a large audience, when you have the talent that they have? A more likely scenario, let's say some of these initial leaks were fake, would be to, we've heard of Apple doing this in the past, running multiple prototypes around, either trying to expose leaks or just kind of try to keep people guessing. You're right, Jeff. They know that these things are going to leak. So maybe there's a chance that they said, okay, let's leak some stuff that's not going to happen. Let those leak, and then we'll, start mass producing this maybe somewhere over here. Even that sounds far-fetched. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of trouble. Apple has been successful in the past despite part leaks. So I don't know how worried they are about that.
As far as I can remember, we've never really seen a fake iPhone 6, a leaked iPhone 5 or 6 that didn't happen. We had the iPhone 5 leaked, and the 4S, and pretty much all of them did. The 4S did, the 5.
Remember, the 4S was the year of the teardrop. And we not only saw thousands of cases made for this teardrop design, quote unquote. We thought it was going to be the iPhone 5. And remember, The Verge, I think This Is My Next at the time. It was Joshua Topolsky. He had it on very good authority that this phone was going to be iPod Touch-like, in that it was going to have a teardrop-shaped profile, it was going to have a larger screen. And New York Times followed that up. There was a lot of credible reports from credible publications, and it turned out to be just the iPhone 4S. I think we even thought, because we saw, iPhone 4-like parts coming down, I think we thought that they were going to do 2 iPhones that year, one for the low end and then the larger one. And that didn't happen. I think we all got kind of bit by that, because it wasn't till a week or two before the actual event that we all went, wait a minute, this isn't, I guess this better looking larger iPhone isn't going to happen. That's the last instance I remember, and that was 2011.
Okay, so basically you tell me I was wrong.
I don't know if you're necessarily wrong, but you remember that, right?
Yeah, I do remember now that you mentioned it.
It was a fiasco.
Yeah. So I was wrong. Okay, that happens.
Well, since then though, we haven't seen anything like that, and I don't even know that Apple was responsible for that. Maybe Joshua. He was the first one I remember that announced it. It was like in spring before the fall of that iPhone. And I don't know if he just got bad information or if Apple did that on purpose to kind of throw people off guard. I don't know why they would raise expectations for the iPhone purposely and then give them basically an iPhone 4 with improved specs.
But some good looking concept we've seen based on the supposed leaks of the iPhone 6. Like I'm looking at one right now. Actually, the post that you published, Cody, on July 3rd. New concept imagines iPhone 6 without ugly antenna lines.
Right.
It's the one that was posted on Behance.
Behance.
And this looks really good. It definitely looks like an iPhone 5 with an iPhone 5S merged with an iPod Touch, really.
Yeah,
And
it has the curved edges and thinner profile. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah, it really is a good looking device. Doesn't take a huge departure from the iPhone 5S, though. I mean, it's again, these are just concept designs, so they're not what we're gonna get, and we might not even get anything close to that. But yeah, it's not like the how do you explain this? The change in design, in look, is not so much different as in the change between iPhone 4S and iPhone 5 as it is between iPhone 5S and iPhone 6 mock-ups. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It's pretty much the same. It's pretty it looks the same. It looks like it's the same family of device. But these are just rumors and concept design. So all this might never see the light of the day already. Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised they would keep the two-tone going because, I mean, the iPod Touch isn't two-tone. The iPad's not two-tone. And I think it's very clear, even if you just look at kind of the design language, it's almost trying to bring its families into line, right? They've all got, pretty soon they'll all have Touch ID. They've all got the Lightning connector.
Right, but like you said, though, it's probably for the signal to be able to
cellular, that's
signal
a good
to
point,
be able to go through, because the lines that we've been talking about, the little antenna breaks, I mean, they're just a break. They're just like a buffer between two different parts. They're not. I don't think they really have a huge purpose, engineeringly speaking. What has a purpose? It's like the white top on the back of your iPhone 5S, or for iPhone 5 too. The white and black, and the white bottom and top. This is where I think most of the antenna of the signal is going through or going out.
Yeah, and I mean, if nothing else, cellular, right? The iPhone is definitely the most used cellular. I mean, there's iPads with cellular built in, but the iPod Touch doesn't have that, so there's no reason for those to have the two-tone windows. Yeah, that makes sense. And I don't know, it's interesting because we've seen some of these iPhone parts with a cutout where the logo is. And I think some people might have speculated that was for a light-up logo. I can't see Apple doing that for a million years.
Yeah.
But it's possible. I think Mac Rumors, I saw this on Mac Rumors somewhere, that they were going to use that for the antenna window because they have in the past for iPad models. They've let antenna signal go through there. So that would be interesting if they could pull that off without the two-tone. But I don't know. I think, honestly, if I had to bet my money, I would say the mock-ups we posted on the 3rd without the antenna lines are probably the closest to what the actual device is going to look like.
I hope so, because I hate those grout.
That's exactly what they look like. They're huge.
They do.
They're huge. Very thick lines. And it's, and I brought up in that post actually that, well, we all kind of thought that the two-tone look was ugly when we first saw that on the iPhone 5. There were leaks several months before that one was unveiled. And a lot of people went, man, that's just ugly. Apple would never do that. And then, of course, Tim Cook or whoever raised it on stage, and everybody went, man, that's beautiful. And so it wouldn't surprise me if they pulled a similar stunt here. But, man, those lines are just, to me, they don't feel very Apple-like. And I could see them being just placeholders for right now to let anybody who touches those phones know that that's where there's going to be some glass windows.
So what do you guys think about the rumored launch date of September 19th? Well, the introduction date is September 19th and the September 25th launch date.
Well, the September 25th launch date, that would be my birthday. September 25th.
Oh, that totally makes sense then.
Right? Okay, it's Cody's birthday. Let's mark it on the calendar. No. So that would be cool, right? I would be the ultimate, I'm getting myself a birthday present, but I think, I read this in several places that's a Thursday, and that just does not seem Apple-like at all. Typically, their product launches are on a Friday. That makes the most sense to me. So I read somewhere I think it was Mac Rumors again. They actually had the September unveiling and launch. They kind of confirmed they called a reliable source. And I want to say they said either 19th and 26th, or if you go a week before that. So 12th and I don't have a calendar in front of me.
Well, I think it's safe to say that it's definitely not launching on a Thursday.
Well, if you look at the history of how they've been doing this, no, it's probably not going to launch on a Tuesday or a Thursday.
Friday's always been the day, right?
Friday has always been, as far as I can remember, the day where you can go in store, like actual launch day. Like you can get it, you can get in line or order online, and usually, tell me if I'm wrong, but isn't it the announcement usually on a Tuesday?
There's been one on Wednesday, but yeah, it's definitely either Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, and then you can also you order it, that Tuesday or Wednesday, and then it comes the morning of that Friday. So you can either go into the store early morning, pick it up. First thing in the morning, you get up, go to the store, get in line, pick it up, or you can just wait if you order it online, and it should come to your house that same day as well.
If they do a pre-order, that's how it usually runs. I'm looking at a calendar now for the month of September.
Well, I'm looking at last year for the 5S, for example. The iPhone 5S event was on Tuesday, September 10, and the iPhone 5S launch day was
2 weeks later.
Was on Friday,
the 20th.
The 20th. So 10 days later, a week and a half later. So
I like the
event on Tuesday. And launch on Friday, the Friday after the following Friday.
So looking at the month of September for this year, I like Tuesday the 9th and a launch date of the 19th. That would be the closest. That's a Friday, the 19th. That would be the closest to what we have now.
Yeah, or
what we had last year.
Or Tuesday the 16th for the event and Friday the 26th for the launch.
I like that.
That would be the other option.
Yeah,
you think it would come? What would be the reason to come later in the month? I guess. Like, why the 1 or 2 week delay right there?
Well, it's just a gut feeling.
Those are good. Gut feelings are good. I mean, and those are really the only two options, right? Because if you try to show it on the 30th of September, the launch would not be in September.
So if anybody at Apple is listening to this, and if you want to make Cody happy, just make sure it fits in his schedule.
Right.
In his schedule.
But I don't know, the 25th actually probably wouldn't be good. I mean, Thursday is just kind of a lame launch day. Friday, it's the end of the week. You're looking forward to it all week, and then you can look forward to getting the iPhone, and then you could play with it all weekend without really much interruption. So I think, and maybe that has something to do with why they pick Fridays.
So should we say Tuesday the 16th for announcement and Friday the 26th for launch day?
Yeah, let's go ahead and go with that.
Okay.
You guys are putting a pin in that one?
All right. I'll give a call to Tim and make sure it fits in his schedule, and we can make it happen.
Okay.
Good.
So if you guys really want to find out, we'll just run a report and see what Jim Dalrymple says over at the Loop.
Yeah. Yep.
And if he says no, we'll just delete it.
Just edit the post and change the date.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Until he eventually says yep.
Yeah.
I don't know. Definitely September though, because it sounds like, I mean, this came from John Paksikowski from Recode. He reported, I mean, it was a month or so ago now, but he reported that Apple is planning an event for October to unveil its iWatch. And so iPhone in September, iWatch in October, maybe iPads in October, or maybe I can't see them doing 3 events.
Well, I would think iPhone and iPad would be the same event, really.
You think so? Or you think they would pair iPad with iWatch? Or maybe they have a third event for Apple TV and iPads with those.
Wow, that's pushing it, yeah.
Yeah, 3 separate events for 3 major product launches. That doesn't make financial sense almost, does it? Like,
no.
These events take a long time to plan, and there's a lot of resources that go into it, renting large, venues and.
Well, I don't think, again, the iPad, we discussed this before, but I don't think the iPad this year is going to be a big jump from what we currently have with the iPad Air. So I don't think the iPad would really have its own event. It's just going to be the iPad. I think this year is going to have is iPad Mini with Retina display moment, like we discussed. I think last week or a couple of weeks ago. I think they're just going to mention the new iPad and not make a big deal out of it. But that's just my gut feeling, and my gut feeling is often wrong. So who knows?
No, I mean it's Touch ID is, throwing Touch ID on the same package. I think you're right. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. I don't think Apple's going to make a huge deal out of it unless they have software to go with it, right? Unless we see this rumored multitasking feature pop up. And I mean, it almost makes sense for them to hold off the iPad announcement until the spring of next year when maybe they have 8.1 ready and they have iPad specific features like the multitasking ready. And maybe they have a new Apple TV to show along with it. I mean, they've done iPad and Apple TVs in the same event before in March. So, I don't know. I mean, there's no telling, obviously. They could have all of it ready by the fall or...
So, September iPhone, October iWatch. That should be a busy end of the year. No matter what happens. It's going to be, no matter what happens, I think it's going to be a busy end of the year. And there's been more chatter about the iWatch over the weekend and over the last week as well, right?
Yes. Probably the biggest news. Well, here, do we want to mention this Microsoft Fitness Band real quick? Because that kind of ties into the iWatch. I thought this was interesting. Microsoft is set. It was a blogger, a well-renowned Windows blogger. I can't think of his name.
Paul Thurrott.
There you go, Paul Thurrott. And he said that he has it on good authority that Microsoft is working on a fitness band. Now, he made very clear to say this was not a watch of any sort. It was a fitness band that would have a focus on tracking your, health and fitness activities, and it would be platform agnostic. So it would, work with not just Windows Phone but Android, and then of course iOS. A lot of third-party people, like I think Fitbit and I think, the Nike Fuel Band, I think they cut Android support. But third-party fitness accessories are typically platform agnostic unless they're directly for iOS. And but I think this would be the first major tech company who has its own mobile platform that would go platform agnostic. And they seem to be like this, right? They have a lot of apps on iOS for Office, obviously, that they just launched. And so this isn't a surprise really to me, but I don't think this is anything, right? In the grand scheme of things, I don't know what this is going to do that I'm looking forward to that I haven't heard that the iWatch will do or that maybe another product already does.
Yeah, right. Or especially if they focus exclusively on fitness and doesn't do anything else.
Right.
It seems that as often Microsoft is late to the game and they're going to do anything to still be in the game, even if they're trailing far behind. Now, what I like about this is that they're not just making, according to this rumor anyway, they wouldn't just make their new fitness band just for Windows Phone platform. Right. It would be, like you mentioned, for iOS and Android as well, which might be really a smart move from Microsoft if they want to sell some of these devices, because they don't sell many Windows Phone devices. And if you need a Windows Phone device to use the fitness band, then you're probably not going to sell many fitness bands.
You're already cutting down your potential customer base.
Yeah, exactly. So I think opening up is a smart thing to do right now for Microsoft, and it seems that that's the new order under the new CEO of Microsoft, and that can't be a bad thing for Microsoft. I think if anything, it's a good thing for them.
Right, but I mean, when you look at what Google Wear devices or Android Wear devices already do, I mean, I've seen videos of people that are able to control their house with voice commands through their Android Wear devices. I mean, just some big things. And from what we hear with the iWatch is going to be some big things. So I think whatever Microsoft's doing, just from what we've heard so far, is going to be a drop in the bucket compared to that stuff.
Right.
And the iWatch, let's see, we definitely heard some new stuff. I think the biggest news on that front is that Apple had snapped up a tag hour executive for its what is believed to be an iWatch marketing role. And I think this adds to the stack of evidence that Apple is working on possibly a high-end, the iWatch or whatever it's going to be called is going to be a high-end accessory, a high-end watch even possibly.
Tags ain't cheap.
Huh? No, they're not. I've looked at them. They start at around $1,200, and that's for just the entry level model. So
yep.
I'm wondering, we've heard a lot on this front, right? I think it was Ming-Chi Kuo of KGI. He's very, he always does a good job of predicting Apple's future plans. He said that on the high end, the iWatch could cost several, multiple thousands of dollars. And when you start hearing this stuff like, they poached a Tag Hour executive, and we've heard similar from other higher end fashion companies around the world. They've got similar people from there. So maybe they are planning on something that is going to be expensive.
I don't think we're going to see I don't know. Who knows?
I mean, yeah.
It's kind of hard to say right now because
it's super tough, and there's a lot of variables, right? When you're talking about a watch, you could change up, just a change in the band could bump it up thousands, right? Just depending on what kind of material you use. But imagine for the watch face and other things like that. Apple could take this a lot of ways, but I think this is really starting to sound more like a watch than just a fitness band, right? I mean,
well, here's the thing.
Getting that feeling.
I get that feeling. And here's the thing you have to remember about Apple is that, yes, it could end up being extremely expensive. I mean, when you think about the configuration for the top of the line Mac Pro, I mean, you're talking, like $10,000 to $20,000 and up, right? I mean, if you can actually go out there to Apple's website and configure a very high-end MacBook Pro or a Mac Pro and easily surpass 10 grand. So perhaps Apple is going to use that same model when it comes to configuring your watch. You could go with the low end model and come in at under 1,000 or however much, they want to make the low end model. But if you want, you could potentially upgrade the band or upgrade the bezel to have a high end look and, come in at over 10 grand if you want to. It's just, Apple has done that in the past, so I wouldn't say it's completely out of the realm of possibilities that they could do the same thing for the iWatch.
I don't know, man. I don't see a guy who can't afford to spend 10 grand on a watch, go on a website and create his own watch on a little watchmaker on apple.com. To me, the guy who can't afford a 10 grand on a watch is going to walk into a store and look at his different options and touch them and look at them and try them on. And have a feel for the watch, really, rather than just go and
I agree.
place an order online.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying it is possible.
It is possible.
They've set the precedent. Yeah, they've set the precedent that they already do that with their high-end computers. So it's possible that they could do the same thing. Although unlikely, like you were saying, most guys are going to want to spend, 10 grand on a watch.
Right.
They want to feel it. They want to see the diamonds. They want to make sure the VVS, all the diamonds specifications look right. So yeah, I know what you're saying.
And think about that too. I'm not talking necessarily about like the top of the line iWatch here, but I'm talking about any kind of iWatch model. How cool would that be if you could actually create your iWatch and pretty, maybe even more specifically for the entry-level iWatches, if we imagine there's going to be several levels. Because like we said before, a watch is a fashion accessory, and you can't just make 2 or 3 different watches and sell them to everybody, and then everybody has the same watch. It doesn't work that way. It works like this for a phone or for a computer. It's fine that everybody has the same computer, but for a fashion accessory such as a bracelet, a watch, sunglasses, you can't just give one product for all of them, for everybody. And I think that would make sense to be able to customize your own iWatch and maybe go to Apple website and say, I want the band in red and I want the face in silver or chrome color or whatever. Probably not real silver or probably not real gold, but you'd be able to choose a few different things that would make it your own watch.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there may be some high-end materials. I mean, think about the companies that they're pulling in here. You have Tag, who makes very high-end materials. You have Angela Arendt, is that how you say her name?
Yeah.
She's from Burberry. And you have others that have been rumored to have been pulled into this that are high-end fashion. I mean, these are high-end fashion, accessories and clothing and things like that. So I wouldn't say it would be completely out of the realm of possibilities that there could be a very high-end iWatch that you could customize.
Oh, go ahead. Finish up.
I was going to say, if anyone's going to do this, Apple would, they would be the one pioneering something like this.
It's just they've never done anything like this before, right? I think the closest you can come to customization with any of the products, I mean, yeah, you can get your Mac built to order. That's internal stuff and can be done. I just don't think there's a lot to that on the back end, right? In terms of production, they make these different configurations. But if you're talking about customizing, the most you as a consumer has been able to do is maybe engrave the back of their iPad or choose a different color, right? That's been the extent of it thus far. So it's hard to imagine. I mean, they have the ability to scale and they have the what is it called? Supply chain prowess to pull something like this off. I'm wondering if other products, let's see, the Motorola X had a really customizable option where you could pick the back and you could pick the color of some different parts of it. And I'm wondering, I don't think that was super successful. I think a lot of people thought it was cool, but I don't know how successful it was. And I don't know what it means for repair and replacement programs. I mean, if you have a problem with your phone that they can't fix in store, you get either, a refurbished one or a new one. How tough would that be if they have to reconfigure it to, something that you customize down to the dial? I think that would be tough. So I don't know. There's a big, huge question mark here on how they'll go about this. I think the entry level will be low enough that people can afford it. Apple doesn't like to price themselves out of the market. They know there's other smartwatches out there that have been out now for 6, 7, 8, 9 months or longer. So they know that they have to compete with that. Now, are they going to go cheaper? No. Are they going to go even price? Probably even not. But I think they'll do within $100 or $200 to the point, just like a tablet, right? You look at a $200 Android tablet and you think, man, for $100 more, I could get the iPad and everything that brings to the table. I'm going to do it. I think we'll see similar pricing on the entry level side. Now, again, the sky's the limit for the high end side. You could even go so far as to speculate that Apple's going to use this opportunity to launch maybe a luxury, like a luxury side of its products, kind of like almost like what Nokia did with what was their luxury handset called? Virtue, yeah. You could even go so far as to speculate that. I mean, there's just so many questions unanswered. We haven't even started really seeing part leaks for this thing yet. So,
in the meantime, I'll be using my Pebble.
In the meantime, I'll be using my $100 Pebble. Well,
in the meantime, I'll be using my Galaxy. Oh, it got stolen. Never mind.
Wow. Yeah, we didn't mean to bring up that story. Well, you brought it up actually. Okay, so that's what I thought was the bigger news was this Tag Hour executive coming on board. There was another report that came out that said that an analyst, I guess, went and talked with Tim Cook, and he came away with the impression that voice messaging could be an integral part of the iWatch. And I thought this was interesting, right? Because we're seeing this with the iOS 8. Apple already announced this at WWDC that iOS 8 will feature this quick voice option where you can record a voice note right there from in the Messages app and send it quickly. And then we've even talked about on a previous episode how it's kind of interesting, kind of an interesting take. You wouldn't think that, you're thinking, well, if I'm going to send a voice message, I'll just call them. But there's definitely something that's not so awkward and really quick and convenient about sending a voice note. And you could see how this could work in the iWatch because iWatch is not going to have a screen large enough for you to text normally as you text, right? So if you want this or you want this accessory to be able to communicate with people and do things without you having to pull out your iPhone, you've got to think outside the box. Voice messaging would be cool because not only could you send a voice message, but maybe there's something on the other end that would have the capability of turning that voice into text. There's tons of voice-to-text solutions. I think Apple even does it with you can highlight a selection of text and have it read it to you. So I don't know. There's a few possibilities here. What did you guys think of this report?
I thought it was exactly what I've been expecting from the iWatch. And again, I've talked about this in previous episodes. that's one of the only features I really want from the iWatch. I want to be able to talk to it and have the device do things for me, and sending messages would be one of these things. You know, you're driving, your phone is in your pocket. Just say, hey, tell my wife I'm on my way, and done. You don't have to pull out the phone. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to wait for Siri. It's just done.
Hey, iWatch, make me a sandwich. I'm hungry.
It's so funny because I think you use that as an example of every time we talk about voice command.
I do?
Make me a sandwich. Yeah.
Really?
Jeff really wants something to make him a sandwich. So. Oh man. I don't know. Maybe not. I feel like I've heard that before, so that's why I chuckled a little bit. I don't know. You know, what if it's okay? So what if there's no changing voice to text? What if it's just straight up voice messages? Would that fly with you guys? Being able to communicate with your significant other or friend or something, just sending them a voice message with your, and not having any text involved?
Absolutely. It seems like you said it's going to be a big feature of iOS 8. And right now, people, if you talk to people in the street, my guess is right now, if you talk to people in the street, or if I told my wife, hey, this is one of the features of iOS 8, about the voice messaging, she'd probably be like, oh, okay, whatever, because she's never used it and she doesn't probably realize how helpful it can be. But once you start putting this in people's hands and have them use it, I think they're going to realize it's a great way to communicate. And I think it's a good thing if the iWatch can integrate flawlessly with that and be an extension of the feature really to the iWatch. So I'm really all for it, really. Assuming it's going to happen.
Assuming it, yeah, you definitely have to throw that in, because this is, again, just really kind of an analyst.
This was a wild guess. I mean, the guy talked to Tim Cook, and Tim Cook said voice messaging is pretty popular in China. And the analysts draw the conclusion that Apple was going to have voice messaging integrated in the iWatch. So, I mean, it's really how do you say, far-fetched, really.
Yeah, or grasping at straws.
Yes,
yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't sound so far-fetched at all, because it sounds like a pretty basic feature.
And it's already been introduced in iOS 8. And I think it's I don't know, it's tough to read Tim Cook. He kind of has this, and we've talked about this previously, they kind of has this steely-eyed, but when you don't get a denial from him, a direct denial, your imagination runs wild, and I think that's what happened here. Mm-hmm. He didn't say, no, voice messaging is not going to be an iWatch, but he also didn't confirm it either. So again, this may or may not happen. It seems like with iOS 8 getting the feature, the iWatch would too. It makes sense. It's an easy way to communicate without having to figure out some way to text on a tiny, tiny, tiny screen. I don't think that's going to happen. Even if you try to introduce third-party keyboards like Swipe or anything like that, I don't think that's a viable solution for responding to people. So I think you have to do something with the voice. So it's either going to be Siri, text this, which I don't think works super great right now on my iPhone. So I would want to see huge improvements to that before I want to make that a reliable way I communicate from my iWatch. Or you take the text part out of it and you just let voice messages be voice messages, and that's a quick way to communicate.
I guess we shall see for this one.
Right.
You guys want to talk a little bit about T-Mobile? I know Jeff loves T-Mobile, but he might not be so happy about this news that came last week.
Yeah, that's not. I think it's overblown, because this.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's something that, yes, it was a problem, and frankly, it's been a problem on every carrier.
Exactly.
So can you recap what we're talking about, just so everybody's on the same page
context,
here?
Yeah. If you opt in, you can opt into these special premium, quote unquote, features like
premium text messaging.
Yeah, premium text.
Called.
There's certain things like video services that you can get, and you can opt into them, and it basically puts like $10 charge on your bill every month, and various other little like gimmicky features. I can't even think of one off the top of my head.
Well, the only one I can think of actually is the horoscope. Do you say
something like
horoscope? Is that the right way to pronounce this?
Yes, it's like if you're a Libra or whatever, right. you can get predictions for your day.
Yeah, your day,
based
your
on
daily
your
prediction
sign.
for your day or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so stupid stuff like that.
Cat facts.
Yeah.
Daily cat facts.
You remember on TV where they would say, "Well, send a text message to 45367 with the word toenail in it, and we will send you toenail pics every day." Well, yeah, they would charge you like $10 a month. For that.
That's a weird thing to be.
Well, I actually subscribe to that. That's the reason why.
Okay, sorry.
So basically, these would come in these really ambiguous charges on your bill, and they wouldn't actually identify who it was that was charging you. It would just say like premium service, or to have some really like abstract wording for the bill for the charge. It was like $10 a month. But these have since been eliminated by T-Mobile, and T-Mobile wasn't the only one that was susceptible to this. Like there were other carriers, and in fact,
every major carrier.
Yeah.
In fact, I can kind of speak to this. I worked for large carrier, one of the big four for 2 years. This was a fairly big problem, actually. I often had to deal with customers who came in upset. They didn't understand what this $10 charge was. A lot of times, and I know obviously people lie to try to get out of charges like this, but a lot of times they would claim, I never signed up for this. Opting in is as easy as clicking the wrong thing, honestly, even on a website that may have your cell phone information. Accidentally clicking the wrong thing could opt you into this. And there's no real easy way to opt out. So you're going to keep getting this $10 a month charge. In fact, we didn't really have a way to disable these. I mean, because these are directly through the companies, right? The texting companies that put out these premium text messaging services. So there was no real thing that we could do. I mean, we had to pass the buck to them. So you either called them and asked for a refund saying you never wanted this, or you would just text the word stop or cancel to whatever number was sending you these text messaging, and that would be a way to stop it. But we oftentimes wouldn't compensate people because, I mean, they opted in, and there's a lot of fine print for these services that say you cannot, get a refund from your carrier, or this is not from your carrier. This is from this, and this. So yeah, I definitely don't think this is a T-Mobile specific problem. I was surprised when I read this that people were in such an uproar about this. It didn't come at a good time for T-Mobile, right? Because they've been getting a lot of good press lately based on its Un-carrier initiative, and this just kind of probably stifled that a little bit. And I don't think it's super fair. I definitely know for a fact that T-Mobile is not the only carrier that was guilty of this, and it sounds like they've already taken the steps to drastically reduce this problem, and I haven't heard the same from other carriers.
Yeah, the CEO, John Legere, actually commented on this, and he basically said that the finding is unfounded and without merit, and that T-Mobile, like you said, has been taking steps in the last year to get rid of these things and actually provide refunds to customers that feel they were charged without cause. So it's not just a T-Mobile thing, in other words.
Yeah.
But speaking of T-Mobile, I have been quite disappointed recently with their service. It is just, I don't know. It seems to be really spotty at times. Like sometimes it works great, and then other times it's a little not so great. So that's kind of what I've been dealing with for the past few weeks. I don't know if they're doing like upgrades or something, but it just seems to be really spotty. I never had that problem prior to the last few weeks. So we'll see what happens over the next few weeks. Hopefully it gets better.
Yeah, that's too bad. I know they're rolling out wideband LTE in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I wonder maybe the problems have something to do with that, or it could just be a standard network issue. I'm surprised it's lasting multiple weeks, though. I read that Walt Mossberg, right? He's the one of the Recode founders. I think he was at the Wall Street Journal for a long time as a tech writer, and he took T-Mobile's test drive and said he was thoroughly impressed. It beat Verizon a majority of the time. It beat Verizon in terms of speed, and I think he tested it in a couple of major cities that he normally frequently travels. And so he was impressed, but I think he said he was on a really good grandfathered Verizon plan, and he had a family plan with them, so he wasn't looking to change, but he said that the performance would definitely impress people enough to change. So just a little side note about their new test drive program and how it's going. I'd be interested to see how many people have signed up and taken that. I think it was at 12,000 last week when we talked.
But to be fair, this test drive that Walt Mossberg did, it wasn't very fair.
Not scientific by any means.
Well, it's not about the process. It's about doing it in two cities. I think the two cities were Washington, D.C. and New York or something, or maybe in San
Washington,
Francisco.
DC,
Or,
San Francisco, I think.
I think, yeah. I mean, that's not very representative. Like, if you want to do it, you have to go in 10 cities and maybe not go in the major cities either. Like go outside the city and see what's really going on out there.
Right.
Well, I can already tell you that. If you're on T-Mobile, you're not getting any coverage. Forget it.
In rural areas, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think he put an asterisk and said, hey, this is not scientific. This is just me using it where I normally use my phone. And it's also worth highlighting. I mean, this kind of spotlighted a problem that I think Verizon has been facing for the last year or two now. They've got so many devices on LTE. I mean, they were the first to roll out LTE. They were a year ahead of AT&T. And they've got so many devices on that now that it's becoming bogged down. So there's been tons of complaints by Verizon. I mean, it's almost like what happened with AT&T when they launched the iPhone and 3G. You're just getting complaints in larger areas like New York and San Francisco, where there's just so many users on that LTE network that's becoming bogged down. So service is slower, and they're trying to, they have plans to upgrade all that and add more bandwidth and add more speed, but it's for right now it's kind of crappy in some areas.
And does that wrap it up for coverage of T-Mobile? I thought there was something else in there.
There was. They announced a new. I guess they didn't announce. This came by way of T-Mo News. It was a leaked document that basically said that later this month they're going to start offering accessories on installment plans. Now, they were the first to kind of pioneer, in terms of carriers, they kind of pioneered the equipment installment plans, right? $0 down and $30 a month. You walk out the store with an iPhone 5S kind of deal. Well, they're, by this leaked document, this internal document, it sounds like they're going to start doing this for higher priced accessories. So what this would mean for, the average customer is that you could walk in and let's say you wanted the $200 pair of Beats headphones that they offer, or maybe the $200 Bluetooth speaker they offer, or just imagine high priced accessories. I mean, they offer quite a few. You'd be able to walk in and walk out without having to shell out $200 in cash. Maybe you don't have that at the time. So it's an interesting thing, interesting plan. I know that carriers tend to make a lot more money on accessories than they do their smartphones, right? They have to subsidize and pay money up front for their smartphones, and they don't always get that money back. Whereas accessories, I know they sell. In my previous job, we sold car chargers for $30, and we got them for $3. So, I mean, there's a huge margin there, right? That doesn't include shipping and things like that, but still, there's a huge profit margin on accessories. And I don't know what it is for Beats headphones. They're selling them for the same price everybody else is, but I still think this is a good way to get customers in the door. If I don't have the money for $200 headphones, I don't buy them. But this might help. I mean, if you were able to make the payments.
Please don't do this, people. Like, seriously. Is there interest charged on this? I don't think
so.
Okay. Well, maybe do it.
I don't think so. They said there wasn't a whole lot of details. They said if it's just like their smartphone plans, I don't think there's interest charged on their smartphones.
No, there's not.
But I think you have to qualify, right? Like there's either a light or heavy credit check to make sure that you're going to pay your monthly payments. I don't know how they do it for phones. I think you have to qualify.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? What do you think about this move, Jeff?
I think it's a good move from their standpoint, but for the customer, like, dude, if you can't buy it outright, just like it's an accessory. Okay, a phone's one thing, like paying an installment on that with no interest, as long as there's no interest. Paying an installment on that is okay. That makes a little bit more sense, but paying an installment on like a couple $100 accessory or $30 accessories or whatnot, I don't know. It's pretty lame. Let's move on, though.
Let's move on, he said.
Whoa, Jeff. Jeff
is mad. Jeff is mad at T-Mobile. He wants to move on. He wants to go back to AT&T.
To be fair,
I'm actually considering it.
Oh, here he is. The flip-flopper is back.
But I travel too much out of the country to want to do that right now. Like, that deal is amazing. Having free internet.
Free Edge international, and free text messaging.
What's the limit on that again?
Isn't it 200? No, there's no limit.
There's no limit. It's unlimited.
It's just only available in like like it's only available in specific countries. It's not anywhere international, but I think there's a pretty big list.
Yeah, there's over 200 countries, so almost anywhere. And I think I was getting 3G over there. In countries that don't have 2G, it automatically bumps you up to 3G
For free?
Yeah, for free.
Wow,
It's amazing.
That's a pretty good deal. That's a good. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
If you travel, it's definitely the best carrier.
Well, not if you travel around the U.S. I don't think it works.
True.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be good if you're like driving up to Kansas or something. No. I did want to add though for this this installment plan, if let's say you bought a pair of $200 Beats headphones, it comes to about a little over $8 a month. So I honestly don't think you're putting yourself out, and if you don't want to spend all $200 right away, you want to get these headphones. I mean, $8 a month, that's nothing. Tack that onto your bill. That's less than a premium text message.
Yeah, maybe you cancel these text messages so we can afford.
Yeah, cancel the text message, buy the headphones. There you go. Everybody wins. Did you guys download any apps this week?
No, I
was
did.
tempted.
I did, but they were so bad. I don't want to talk about them.
I was tempted.
That's not fair. I have downloaded some bad ones that I'll talk about. Really, Sebastian? You don't want to talk about them?
Well,
What was the free app of the week, Cody?
Well, the free app of the week was day one, the day one count, like the day one journal app, and I already have that. I got that on special a long time ago, so I already got that for free. So, but I mean, it's a great app. So if anybody's interested, and I can't ever bring myself to use it. Like you ever sit down and you're like, okay, journal time. I'm writing in my journal. Today was awesome. I don't know. Like, I'd never know what to say. Like, oh man, today was super cool. I had Cheerios for breakfast. And then you just go down what you did throughout your day. Anyways, what I did download, since I guess you guys aren't going to go, Horizon Calendar. It's free for a limited time and it's terrible. I don't want to be mean. And you guys know me. I can't really get super into calendar apps. I don't have a busy, hectic life that I just need to, oh my goodness, chart out my days. But I mean, I use Fantastical. It does what I need it to do, and it also kind of doubles as a to-do list and understands normal, everyday plain text. So, and Horizon Calendar is just kind of dated looking, and I don't know. Maybe some people really, really need to plan their events based on the weather. This would work for them. So I downloaded Horizon Calendar because it was free. You can check it out. iRuler, this is a funny story. We got a new bedroom set, and we need to buy lamps. And I feel like the lamps should not be taller than the headboard. So we measured from our end tables to the top of the headboard. And so we know how big the lamps have to be to not be taller than it. And I was like, we didn't have a tape measure like upstairs with us at the time. So I was like, hey, I'll just download a ruler app. And so I downloaded iRuler, and it was the most impossible thing to try to measure a headboard like this. To try to measure anything, really. It was just like, because it gives you 3 inches on the screen, and then you got to try to hold your finger at the top of where the mark is. And then you got to try to go above it. I don't know. If you can imagine, it's just not. It would have definitely saved us time to just run and grab our tape measure.
Yeah, it seems like by the time you're downloaded the application and launching it, you might as well go downstairs and look for the tape measure, no?
Right. It was definitely a lazy move on my part, and it turned out to backfire. Because like I said, it's like, oh, you can scroll along the ruler, so I can move it to the 4, 5, 6 inch after I'm seeing the 1, 2, 3 inch. I can scroll up and see that. But then I lost my place. I was like, well, if I'm holding it here and this was the 3 and this was, oh man, it was a disaster.
You should be able to take a photo and the thing will be able to tell you the length of whatever you're measuring.
Exactly. Somebody invent that and credit me and Sebastian.
Listen to this. You listen to this. Because you probably need a reference for this, because I don't think your camera can figure out how big an object is. But
right.
Here is my idea, and maybe it exists, because I just came up with this and it sounds too easy. So maybe it already exists. But I have a credit card right now on my desk. And you take a credit card and you hold it in front of you, like 1 foot away from you at arm length, really. And you put it between the camera, so you and the product you want to measure. For example, your bed.
Right.
So the app would be able to know that you're holding a credit card, and all credit cards are the same size. They are, I don't know, like 3 inches maybe or something like that. So that would be the reference point. And from there, the app would be able to say, okay, so this is 3 inches. So the bed is, 17 times that credit card length. So here is the length of the bed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes really good sense. I wonder if you could program software to detect, to compare the size of the credit card to the size of the object accurately. I mean, I don't think that exists. I haven't seen anything like that.
Boom, I just created something.
Yeah. Again, if you're out there listening and you make this, we do reserve the right to collect.
Yeah, or just let us know if it's been done like 100 times before.
Right, because that's possible too. There's a million apps in the App Store. So, anyways, I don't recommend either of the apps I tried out. I don't recommend them at all.
That's awkward silence.
Awkward silence. Do you have any iTunes reviews you want to read?
Yeah, actually I do. That's a very good point, Cody. I do. I have 3 of them. And the first one is from Gera Bad Boy, 5 stars. He says, all I have to say is that I love all the themes that you talk on the podcast. I think he was saying all the topics that you could talk on the podcast. Didn't we say this one last week? I think we did. The other one is from Buccelli. I love this podcast. I listen to it when I clean and look forward to listening every week. Nice job, guys. Okay, so...
That's awesome.
I listen to it when I clean.
Okay. The last one is from someone that I hope I'm going to be able to pronounce his name right. Abdel Hortiz. He says, the humor in this podcast is amazing. Most of the time, I can't stop laughing because of how funny the IDB trio is. I especially love how it is... Some typos here. I especially love how it is like someone is talking to me, but I just sit there and I just enjoy the show. Jeff and his spider jokes are just the start of a stupid joke section, but every other joke is the main event. I hope I get to actually meet you guys in person someday and keep rocking my speakers. Brofist. P.S. Jeff should engage more in the convo. He is too quiet.
Uh-oh.
To which he said nothing.
Right? Jeff's like, I'm not quiet.
I'm not quiet, but I won't say anything.
I don't want to be a ball hog.
Oh, Jeff.
Jeff, you're not a ball hog. You're not a Kobe.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it for the week. Hey, I have like a special announcement to make.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. We are you guys don't know about that yet, so it's going to be a new announcement for you too. Yeah, we're looking for a couple writers, 1 or 2, to join the team at IDB. We are in need of to bring more people, and I have specific ideas about what kind of writers we're looking at right now. Specifically, that would be guys to do app reviews and accessory reviews, and help us out, put up some tutorials and how to do stuff with your iPhone or iPad or iOS device or Mac. So if you're listening to this first, and I guess if you're listening, you are listening to this. If you have blogging experience, and I really mean if you have blogging experience, if you don't, please don't waste your time doing this. If you do have blogging experience and you can show your experience writing for other blogs, go to idownloadblog.com/writer, and there is a quick form that you can fill out there. Again, it's idownloadblog.com/writer, and you can tell us more about yourself and put some links to your to some writing samples of stuff you've written on previous blogs, and we can go from here. And who knows, maybe one or several of you guys will be joining us on the IDB team to publish more content on the site.
Yeah, we could definitely use. I like the tutorials. I know those help people out a lot, and they tend to do really well in terms of people keep coming back to them and referring back to them.
Yeah. So again, idownloadblog.com/writer. And again, if you don't have experience, please do not fill out the form and say, I don't have experience, but I think I would be great. That's just not going to work. I can tell you right off the bat, it's not going to work. So just don't waste your time filling out the form if you don't have writing experience. If you don't have writing experience, maybe you can start a blog and start putting up some articles out there to see and send your samples in the future. But there is no rush, by the way. If you don't have to figure this out right now in this minute when you listen to this, it's not a competition or anything like this. It's really an ongoing process. So there's no rush. Don't feel rushed. Don't fill out the application in 30 seconds. Take your time because you're going to be judged on that too. Like I had this application for a while on IDB, and I was amazed at how people can follow sometimes like simple directions. Like the directions were like, if you don't have experience, don't do it. And yet like tons of people would just send it and say, I don't have experience, but I'm still sending it. Or they wouldn't fill out half of the questions. They just wouldn't answer. I'm like, why do you do this? Like, why do you waste your time doing this? And you're trying to impress someone here with your abilities to follow directions and writing abilities. And then you just do a hack job. So hopefully, people listening to this won't do that again and won't do that this time around. And maybe we can have some new people on the blog, some fresh air, as I like to call it.
So, question.
Yes.
Is it hard to find a good blogger?
Yes, it's super hard. It is very hard, man. You would think that it's easy because everybody knows how to write, right? Well, reality is not everybody knows how to write correctly, and not everybody can follow simple directions because we do have a set of rules on IDB, and they're very simple rules. You guys know, like the size of the screenshots and like that kind of stuff. It's very simple rules. Like you forget about it once, and then I remind you to do it, and then you think, like you remember every time. It's very simple. Not many rules.
Right.
But there still are rules, and a lot of people just can't follow rules. And also, I've noticed that I haven't had this problem in a while because now we don't really get new writers on the site because I do a very extensive, pretty extensive, not super extensive, but I have a pretty extensive
background check.
Another background check, like credit check and stuff, and FBI
call
records.
Your landlord.
And no, but I usually ask them to provide some new samples and stuff, and basically write stuff that's never going to be published on the site, just to see if they can write and can write on command, basically. And what was I going for here? I don't remember what I was going for. Most people, I guess, don't lack the dedication because everybody wants to be a blogger because it's a cool job and you make money just talking about the iPhone and stuff, and it's pretty cool. And everybody wants to get into it, but then people get into it and they can't really follow through. Like they're just not reliable. And that's been something that I've encountered in the past, and that was like really. Like I'm talking from experience years ago when I first started looking for writers when IDB was, so that was in maybe 2008 or 2009. And I guess the audience was very much different too at the time. It was much smaller audience too. But I would bring people on and then like a week later, I would literally never hear from them again. Like they would just disappear. And not even say, hey, I'm done or anything like that. Just disappear, never reply to an email ever again. And that happened several times. And not only I think it's rude, but it's very unprofessional. And then it's just a waste of time for everybody, for them and for me. And it's a lack of consistency on the site, and it doesn't reflect very well. So it's hard to find. It's very hard to find a writer. So hopefully, maybe with this little message, we'll find someone. And I didn't want to post it on IDB either, that we were looking for someone, because I was like, maybe we should look first from the people who are really into IDB, and these people would be listening to the podcast. And so I think we would have a better chance at finding like very good, involved people just by not promoting, but talking about us searching for a new writer here on this podcast, rather than making it available for everyone online on IDB, which I might have to do in the future if we don't find anyone. So yeah, this is it. Maybe Jeff, do you want to be a writer for IDB?
Maybe.
Okay, good. Go to idownloadblog.com/writer and you can fill out the application. Is it /writer or /write? Writer.
Did you?
Yeah, that's probably super important.
I can't remember if I filled out an application or not.
No, because I think I reached out to you. Didn't we establish this before?
I don't.
No, we talked about this, Sebastian.
Yeah.
While
I wasn't
Jeff,
there.
I think, was in Japan.
Yeah.
You reached out to me after I think leaving several comments.
Yeah, and I reached out to Jeff too.
No. I think I did submit an application.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah, it was via email.
All right, it's probably the same application. I think it's very simple.
I hope I followed instructions.
What I think you did.
Yeah, otherwise you probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, and you had writing experience too that you could show. You sent me some links to some of your stuff. Actually, I remember I had linked to one of your blog posts. You had written a blog, like your own blog. You had something about, I can't remember what, and I found it and I linked to it. And that's how I think we got in touch together.
That's a good way to start.
Yeah, that is a very good way to start. If you don't have any experience, just go to WordPress.com and start a blog out there and start posting stuff and show off your skills.
I have a joke.
Oh yes, go ahead.
Really?
Is it spider joke? I mean,
it's not. It's not.
I mean, you might have to come up with a few more of those. Those seem to be pretty popular.
What does a nosy pepper do?
I don't know. He sprays. No,
Spices.
Gets jalapeno business.
Whoa. Okay.
Okay, here I have one. Why did the origami store go out of business?
It folded.
No one knows. It just folded.
Hey, I've got a 4th of July joke.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you know why America doesn't have knock-knock jokes?
They have boom boom jokes.
No, they don't have knock-knock jokes because freedom rings.
Wow.
What did the buffalo say to his son when he left for college?
Bison.
Good one. That's a good one.
Here we go. Why did the Eskimo tell his child to go into the corner to warm up?
Yeah, you're reading that.
Yeah. Can you tell the joke again? I didn't hear it.
Why did the Eskimo tell his child to go into the corner to warm up?
I don't know.
Because it's 90 degrees.
Oh, good one. I've got a couple of blonde jokes here. I love blonde jokes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, might be
No offense
insulting.
to blonde listeners.
No offense to blondes, but do you know what a blonde woman do when her laptop freezes? She
puts it in a bottle of hot water.
She puts it in the microwave. I've got the last one. What is it called when a blonde says something into another blonde's ear?
Echo.
Data transfer.
Data transfer.
I'm done for the day.
Yeah, I think that's all my jokes that I have.
Good one. Good one.
Here's one, Sebastian. I'm going to try this. I'll probably get it wrong. 2 cats are swimming across a river. One's name is 1, 2, 3, and the other's name is un, dos, trois. Who makes it across?
Didn't we do this joke last week?
We did?
I don't think I've ever heard this joke.
I've seen it this week. I know it's like un, deux, trois, can't or something, right? Un, deux, trois, can't.
Yeah. Un, deux, trois, quatre,
I know
cinq.
the 1, 2, 3 cap made it across because the cap sank.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's in French.
The
So I
cat
figured,
sank.
hey,
Oh, the cat sank. Okay.
you would like it.
Yeah.
I remember that from
I saw it this week.
That was me pulling out my freshman high school French class. I've never heard the joke before. I just counted in French.
I'm still upset you haven't done a Bane impersonation.
I did a really good one on our other podcast last week.
But people who just listen to Let's Talk iOS haven't had a chance to listen to you say it again. So I think people are going to be demanding it.
Right. Well, maybe I'll practice a little bit this week, and I'll get music together, and I'll do one.
Okay.
I'll do one next week.
Maybe you know what you should do next week? You should do the intro of the podcast as Bane.
Okay, I could try to practice that.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
What's Forrest Gump's password?
Oh, we've done this one before. Force 1.
Oh. Man, I must have missed out on this.
We must have been on the same website because I remember this cat joke that probably saw it there. All right, guys. I hear people downstairs, and I think the guy is here to buy my car. I think that's him that I'm hearing. So I'm going to have to go. And
we still sign off.
Yep. And then I'll see you guys. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for the other podcast, but we'll be in touch soon. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.
Peace. Wow.